Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a very good day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. This is Devon Franklin. He is familiar to most of us. He was recently married to the well-known actress Meagan Good for 9 years, and in 2021 they split and their divorce became final this year. Devon Franklin is described as a TV film producer, author, preacher, and television personality. He came on my radar because as I was reading an article from Christian Post, an online news publication, I saw that Devon Franklin has been hired as an expert on the TV reality show Married at First Sight. Devon Franklin is a very attractive, high-value man who has sort of mesmerized the public with his intelligence and his seemingly sincere efforts to make a difference in the lives of African American people in the right way, and just being an all-around good guy. The article says Hollywood filmmaker and preacher Devon Franklin says he was recruited as a celebrity expert for the hit show Married at First Sight amid his recent divorce. The Christian preacher, who recently got divorced from actress Meagan Good after 9 years of marriage, has frequently spoken publicly about relationships. Along with sharing his faith on social media, Franklin has often offered advice for couples and singles on prayerfully staying in God's will when it comes to relationships. He and Meagan Good co-authored the relationship book, The Truth About Men, What Men and Women Need to Know, and The Wait. Y'all remember they went out on a whole campaign announcing to the world that they were going to be celibate until they got married, which I didn't understand, because why do you need to tell anybody that? That's between you and your fiancé. Married at First Sight is a social experiment that brings together compatible singles who are willing to marry a stranger in hopes of living happily ever after. In an Instagram post about his involvement in the new season, Franklin revealed that he almost turned the opportunity down. Moment of truth, he said. Last year, Married at First Sight invited me to come on the show. I agreed to do it, and then the divorce hit. They came to me and said that it didn't matter to them because they still felt like I could help their couples. I was going to tell them no because I felt shame. And that voice in my head said, "You're a failure. How can you help anybody save their marriage when yours didn't work out?" Well, I agree with that. How is he going to help somebody that just met each other at first sight save a marriage when he and his fiancée at the time went all over the place talking about how wonderful their relationship was and how they were going to be celibate until they got married, and for the 9 years of that marriage they were putting on a show, going on the red carpet, skinning and grinning and telling everybody how happy they were and how wonderful marriage was, and then all of a sudden he filed for divorce. So I agree. How in the world is he going to be able to help anybody when he didn't see his own marriage falling apart, evidently? There are words that a psychologist or a psychiatrist might use to describe human behavior, clinical terms that I really don't know about. So I'm just going to use the everyday word that people understand when I say this dude sounds phony to me. For one thing, he's low-key trying to make himself into a victim. The divorce hit, like he didn't even see it coming. And then he filed for divorce from her, which is to me trying to make it seem like she was the one at fault. Now, she might well have been the one at fault. But here's the thing. This man is a preacher. He describes himself as a TV film producer, author, preacher, and television personality. Now, what's wrong with the order of those occupations? Out of 4 occupations, he put preacher as number 3. Now, I don't know if he did that or whoever wrote his biography, but it seems like being a preacher is not the top priority. It seems like being a TV and film producer is. And that is what he calls himself. He's a Seventh-day Adventist. I don't think he pastors a church, but apparently he has it where he can turn up and preach whenever he feels like it. And I don't mean to sound judgmental, but I am going to make this observation. If you are a pastor or a preacher and you choose an actress for your wife, that is something that should be brought into question. Because first of all, if you're serious about ministering, you should petition the Holy Spirit, the Creator, for your wife or your husband. And God is not going to send you somebody that you live with for 9 years and then file for divorce. So right there is a contradiction with this man for me. And I do want to go a little deeper with this. Meagan Good is an actress who is really not an A-list actress. Meagan Good is an actress who is getting by on her looks, on her body, and the fact that I think she's very likable. Meagan has been acting for 27 years. She has never won anything, not even an NAACP award. Everybody black wins an NAACP award at some time. In 27 years, she hasn't won a Black Reel Award, a BET Award, or an NAACP award. So what does that say about Meagan Good? Meagan is not what you call a serious actress. She's not a movie star. She is a working actress, and she has built a decent fortune for herself just acting. The reason that that's significant is that he really fell in love with a Hollywood girl. She's a working actress who has done really well. If he's looking for a wife as a preacher, you would just think that he would know that that might not be the best match for him. I think Meagan got the wrong end of that deal. She was 30 years old when she married him. So she was at a point where she was going to have to make a decision as to whether or not she wanted a family, whether or not she wanted children. Now, something went wrong in that relationship, and it wasn't all just her fault. And then at 40 years old, he files for divorce. This puts her at a disadvantage because let's just say she did want children. 9 good childbearing years were lost to her. Something isn't right, when somebody goes out and makes this big splash about being so in love and on the red carpet, and they all hugged up on the red carpet, and they're talking about how great and how wonderful their relationship is and how they work through their problems, and then all of a sudden he files for divorce. Now she's got to go and pick up the pieces of her life too. That's the first time Meagan Good had been married, so you would just have to assume that she was serious and that she went into it expecting it to last. I believe that he's the phony in this situation. I don't believe that it's Meagan. Because reading this article and other things that he has said since he's been divorced, it's almost like he's using that divorce as a prop. That's going to be his segue into something else. He's going to get on this reality show. He's worked himself into a television situation now. So he's going to use his marriage and divorce to heal other people and to advise other people. In the meantime, Meagan isn't saying anything. I believe that she's truly hurt by this guy. I'm sorry, but that is just how I feel. Meagan Good was 30 years old when she married him. And I believe she thought this was her prince. What black woman was gonna lead this guy? There is nobody in Hollywood that's more attractive. He is as handsome as any black man in Hollywood, more attractive than most. He's tall. He has a perfect skin tone. And he has more money than she does. So who was going to really lead? Who is the black woman that would lead this guy? Black women are taking all sorts of things from black men trying to stay with them in and out of Hollywood. So I don't believe she would have just jumped up and left him. That is why I believe he filed for divorce. Because she was not, like, I ain't leaving. So I just see something really funny about this guy, even as he comes across as the perfect gentleman. I see something very phony in this man. He knew what she was. Meagan has been out there since she was a preteen. So he knew what he was getting. She didn't know what she was getting. Now that is my observation. And the fact that he has rebounded and he's now out here on television using his marriage as a therapy for other people. I just feel bad for Meagan Good. I believe Meagan Good got a raw deal in this guy. So how serious is he? I just think that he got divorced from Meagan Good, but I'm asking myself, what did he think was going to happen? Because it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like a man who was seriously looking for a wife. You are a preacher and you're going to get an actress who makes her living on what she looks like and what her body looks like, and you think that's going to be the first lady of a church or somebody that's going to accompany you to a church conference, somebody who is known for dressing in this very flashy way, exposing parts of her body. That's who you're picking for a first lady? There's just something very contradictory about this man, as charming and as likable as he seems to be. I think that's something that's not really quite right here. Everybody else seems to think he got the raw end of the deal, but I think she got the raw end of the deal. It seems like she was trying to work with him. She was going along with this nonsense about being celibate, which was nobody's business but theirs. They didn't need to tell anybody that. Then they had this big elaborate wedding, and he was going to work her into the church in some way. But somewhere along the way, something went wrong. And I think that it probably was a bad idea from the start, because she was the one that was going to have to make the adjustments. She had always been an actress. So to be the first lady of a church and to be respected by the church membership, the congregation, she would have had to make some changes in her career, in the way she dressed, probably in the way she behaved. And Devon Franklin knows, just like every other African American person who goes to church, black people in a church are very conservative. So the behavior modification was going to have to come from her. Seeing him go through this performance where he's talking about the marriage and the divorce, being so smug and trying to make it seem like, oh, I'm so ashamed that I got divorced. But you don't believe it, but it doesn't seem like he is ashamed. I don't know, it's a red flag in this somewhere for me. I can't put my finger on it, but there's some kind of a red flag here, because it just seems like he's using that marriage and divorce to jumpstart another career where he's going to say, I'm an expert on divorce now because I was married for 9 years to Meagan Good, and I had to file for a divorce because that's what he did. And I'm telling you now that this is my expert advice. I don't know. There is something very contradictory about this man. I know a lot of black male preachers, and they marry women that are compatible with the job that they're doing. See, to me, it looked like he was picking a wife in the same way that a rapper or an athlete would. Somebody that looks good, that everybody's going to say, oh, he's got this beautiful woman. Look at her. Look at her. A trophy. That's what it looks like he was out there looking for. And then it looks like she was trying to fit that mold for a while. But again, that was not a good fit for her. And the question is, why did he think that was a good fit for him? And now he's whining about, he's divorced, and this is so different, and all this kind of stuff. So I just see this as very phony, even though I think he's very likable and I like him. But I see this as being very phony. So I hope he will continue on. I hope he will be a blessing to the Married at First Sight people, and that he will take a very hard look at himself and the choices that he's making, because it doesn't seem like he's making the best choices for somebody who's calling himself a preacher. Okay, y'all let me know what you think about this. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video, and as always, have a great day.